I've never been one to believe in ghosts or the supernatural, but that night in the deep woods campsite changed everything. Nestled between towering pines and a serene lake, our tent stood as an island of warmth against the encroaching chill of nightfall. The first unnerving moment came when I woke up from my routine, middle of the night bathroom break. As I stepped out of the tent, the forest seemed to hold its breath, the crickets falling silent before resuming their symphony moments later. A single leaf detached from a tree overhead, spinning slowly to the ground in what felt like slow motion. It was as if nature itself was watching me. I returned to the tent, zipping it shut behind me. My wife stirred but didn't wake, her soft snores a comforting rhythm. But then, amidst the rustling of leaves outside, I thought I heard whispering, faint, indistinct words carried by the wind. I strained my ears, heart pounding, but there was nothing. Shaking it off as residual fear from the eerie quietude earlier, I tried to go back to sleep, but sleep wouldn't come. The second unnerving moment arrived in the form of intermittent whispers seeping through the tent fabric. They weren't constant, which made them all the more disconcerting. Each time I heard them, I'd listen intently, only to be met with silence. It felt like they were playing a game with me, teasing my sanity. Around 3 a.m., I finally gave up on sleep. Unzipping the tent again, I decided to take a walk around the deserted campsite. Perhaps fresh air would help clear my head. The moon cast long shadows across the path, creating an intricate maze of light and dark. My footsteps echoed ominously in the silence, punctuated by the distant hoot of an owl. Suddenly, a twig snapped behind me. I spun around, expecting to find a nocturnal animal, startled by my presence. Instead, there was nothing. Just more trees and the silent watchfulness of the night. However, as I turned back, I could have sworn I saw a fleeting figure dart between two trees. Impossible, I told myself, yet the image lingered, etched onto the back of my mind. Returning to the tent, I found my wife still asleep, oblivious to my terror. As I lay down next to her, the whispering resumed, now clearer than ever before. Only this time, amidst the murmurs, I distinctly heard my name. A cold sweat broke out over my body as I realized something was very wrong. Not wanting to alarm my wife, I stayed silent, wide-eyed in the darkness, waiting for dawn to break. As morning approached, the whispers faded away, leaving behind a lingering sense of unease. My attempts at rationalization seemed hollow now, replaced by a growing dread that refused to be ignored. Something was out there, lurking in the shadows of the deep woods, whispering secrets only meant for me. And as I watched the first light of day break through the canopy of trees, I couldn't help but wonder what horrors awaited us in the hours yet to come. The dawn arrived, banishing the terrors of the night with its soft, golden light. Yet, despite the beauty of the morning, a heavy weight of dread clung to me like an unwanted shadow. My wife, blissfully unaware of my sleepless night, hummed cheerily as she prepared breakfast. I tried to match her mood, forcing down mouthfuls of food that tasted like ash. We decided to go for a hike, hoping the exercise would help dispel my lingering fear. The forest, bathed in sunlight, felt alien after the haunting whispers of the previous night. Every rustle of leaves, every chirping bird seemed amplified, scrutinized by my heightened senses. I kept expecting to hear my name carried on the wind again, but there was only the gentle murmur of nature. The second unnerving moment came as we were returning from our hike. A peculiar stillness hung in the air, the kind that precedes a storm. Even the animals seemed to have vanished, leaving behind an eerie silence. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the trees, causing them to sway dramatically. Leaves swirled around us, forming a temporary whirlwind before dissipating just as quickly. Amongst the leaves, for a fleeting second, I thought I saw a scrap of paper fluttering to the ground. On it, written in a familiar scroll, were the words, "I see you." Ye? I picked up the note, heart pounding, but it was gone as suddenly as it appeared. My wife looked at me curiously, having noticed my distress. I mumbled about an unusual bird, hating myself for lying to her. She smiled reassuringly, believing my ludicrous explanation without question. Her faith in me felt like another betrayal to the truth, adding to the burden of secrets I now carried. Night fell again, casting long shadows across our campsite. We retreated into our tent early, both exhausted from the day's hike. As I lay there, listening to my wife's steady breathing, I waited for the whispers to return. Hours passed, and they remained silent. Just when I allowed myself to believe they had left, the third unnerving moment occurred. A soft beam of light penetrated our tent, followed by a shadowy figure. Panic surged through me as I realized someone was outside, watching us. I reached for my phone, intending to call the police, but it wasn't there. In my frantic state, I must have left it outside when we came in. The figure moved closer, stopping just outside our tent. Through the fabric, I could make out a face, or rather, a mask. It was grotesque, twisted into a leering grin that sent chills down my spine. Then, clear as day, I heard my name whispered from behind the mask. Not a gust of wind, not an auditory hallucination, but a real voice filled with malice and amusement. My wife stirred, murmuring in her sleep, as the figure continued to watch us, hidden by the darkness. Despite the warmth of our tent, I felt an icy chill seep into my bones, freezing me in place. As dawn approached, the figure finally disappeared, leaving behind a lingering sense of violation. The whispers returned briefly, taunting me with their cryptic messages before fading away with the arrival of sunlight. But the damage was done. I could no longer deny the truth. Something unnatural was stalking us, toying with us like playthings in its sinister game. Now, as another day breaks, I find myself torn between fear and resolve. Fear for our safety, fear for my wife's ignorance, fear for what might happen when the sun sets again. Yet, amidst all this terror, there burns a steady flame of determination. I will protect her. I will uncover the truth behind these haunting whispers. Even if it means confronting the darkness head-on, I will not let it claim us without a fight. But for now, we wait, trapped within our tent, as the day unfolds outside. Will the figure return tonight? Or has it grown tired of its game? Only time will tell, and until then, we remain at its mercy, prisoners in this deep woods campsite where reality seems to have taken a dark, twisted turn. Part 3. The day wore on interminably, each passing moment heavy with unspoken dread. We remained confined within our tent, a flimsy barrier against the unknown. My wife, still oblivious to the terror that lurked outside, occupied herself with mundane tasks, reading, doodling in her journal, napping. I envied her innocence, knowing it wouldn't last beyond this trip. As evening descended, casting its premature shadows across the campsite, we prepared a silent dinner inside our tent. Every crunch of a potato chip, every whisper of turning pages felt amplified in the enclosed space. I caught myself staring at the tent walls, half expecting to see them ripple with another message or find the twisted face peering back at me. Night fell, and with it came the inevitable whispers. They were softer tonight, almost comforting, yet they carried an insidious undercurrent of menace. I strained my ears, listening for any clue about who, or what, was behind them. But all I heard was the wind rustling through leaves, distant hoots of owls, and my own fear-ridden heartbeat. Around midnight, I made a decision. I couldn't let this continue. I had to confront whatever was out there. Slipping out of the tent quietly, I left my wife asleep, unaware of my departure. The cold air hit me like a slap, jolting me awake. Shadows danced around me as I scanned the perimeter of our campsite, searching for any sign of the figure. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught my eye. There, behind a tree, stood the grotesque masked figure. It tilted its head, studying me with those hollow eyes before raising a hand in a mocking wave. Then, without warning, it turned and disappeared into the darkness. I followed, driven by a mix of terror and curiosity. The whispers grew louder, guiding me deeper into the woods. They seemed to know I was coming, leading me on a twisted path filled with dead ends and hidden pitfalls. Every snap of a twig underfoot echoed ominously, punctuating the eerie symphony of whispers. Then, just as suddenly as they started, the whispers ceased. Silence descended, thick and heavy. I stood in a clearing, the moonlight illuminating a chilling sight. There, in front of me, lay hundreds of scraps of paper, each bearing a single word, my name. A chill ran down my spine as realization dawned. This wasn't just about me or my wife. It never was. This entity had been watching us, studying us, collecting information to use against us. And now, standing amidst this sea of identifiers, I felt exposed, vulnerable. Suddenly the figure reappeared, its twisted grin more menacing than ever under the moonlight. It raised a hand, pointing towards the lake. As I turned, I saw it. Our tent, engulfed in flames. Panic surged through me as I raced back, praying my wife had managed to escape. But she wasn't there. The burning remnants of our tent stood as a testament to the horrors of the night. Tears streaming down my face, I looked around, desperate for any sign of her. And then, amidst the crackling flames and falling ash, I heard it. A faint whisper, carried by the wind. Game over. As dawn approached, I found myself alone in the deep woods, the remnants of our campfire providing scant comfort against the encroaching chill. My wife was gone, claimed by the darkness that had haunted us since we arrived. Despite the warmth of the rising sun, I felt an icy chill seep into my bones, one that no amount of daylight could banish. I don't know what happened that night, whether it was a supernatural entity or merely a figment of my terrified imagination. All I know is that something evil lurks in those deep woods, whispering secrets only meant for those it ensnares. And as I sit here, recounting this chilling tale, I can't help but wonder, will you hear the whispers too? Or have they already claimed another victim, adding yet another layer to their sinister game? Only time will tell. And until then, we remain at their mercy, prisoners in this world, where reality seems to have taken a dark, twisted turn.